Hello everyone and welcome to this video. I would like to share with you how I develop black and white and also color infrared pictures. I made a selection of pictures I took. For a start, we will go with black and white pictures taken with 850 nanometer filter from Kolari Vision. After, I would like to show you my process with the ER Chrome Kolari Vision filter, which I really love but didn't get the chance to actually use very much lately, but let's go. So let's start with this picture here. Usually what I like to do is to white balance the image in the camera. So then I have already kind of like a black and white picture, almost black and white. In the corners you can see there is some like sepia kind of tint. In order to do so, I immediately go to the black and white tab and enable black and white. This way it's completely black and white. Once I know the picture is completely black and white, I will go back to the general adjustment tab and start processing the picture. So usually they are very kind of flat on the flat side. So what kind of strikes me, this is a bit of vignetting because of the filter and the combination of lenses I used. So I would just remove a bit of vignetting, but because of the lens, I would just crop it a little bit. Then I would like to kind of recover all the highlight, even though the image, as you can see from the histogram, is really doesn't have really strong highlights nor blacks, but still I prefer to remove all the highlight. And then just add a bit of contrast from the contrast bar. And usually I would just go down and kind of close the second picture here is still kind of like, I would say, on the flat side. Putting it black and white will make it completely black and white. Again, open up some shadows, recover all the highlights, maybe add some brightness, a little bit of more contrast, exposure down, and then here maybe this way, and a bit more of contrast, just to make those highlights pop a bit more. Well, here there is a bit of dust on the sensor, so let's use the new tool and remove them just like this. And usually this would be it. Maybe these trees, I would like to make them pop a little bit more. So with a local adjustment, I would kind of brush over, again, some contrast, maybe some exposure up, and that would be it. The reason I chose this picture is kind of quite, there's strong highlights over here and a bit of shadows here. So I would, again, starting from highlights, and this time the picture went really flat, so I would just higher up the contrast. I still like to see detail in the shadows, so I would open them up. And since the picture became even more flat, I would just cut the shadow width levels, loosen up a bit. Then with curves again, just a little bit of curve adjustment and maybe some brightness. And I'm gonna just put back some brightness after the exposure. Another thing you could do with strong discrepancy between highlights and shadows is so a Luma Mask. Select a new filler adjustment layer, then option click and Luma range. Display mask, and here you can see everything selected. I like to select all the whites until the brightest point, and then just gradually select the fading highlights, or like lesser highlights. The range, more of sensitivity, and apply. This way you have a very quick highlight mask. And of course you can always cancel and draw more refinements with your brush. If you lower a bit of sky, maybe, yeah, with highlights too. So then go back and just this way put up the exposure a bit, maybe too much, and like this. Quick start for then tweaking even more and more until I'm satisfied with the result. Maybe putting some more light in this leaves, which would make them very pop out. Maybe darken this area here, and so on. Let's go this picture here. Here it looks pretty flat, but once you start adding contrast to the picture, the risk is to lose this foliage here. Again, this one is in color, black and white. Recover some highlights from the trees, nice. And going down with the exposure. I always tend to overexpose a bit because with the 850 nanometer filter, you kind of get good exposure on the histogram inside the camera. So I know even if I overexpose a bit, I will not lose a detail in the highlights here. Whereas with the 700, I always find myself exposing less in order to preserve some highlights. Then I would like to go to the chrome picture. Here again, I tend to expose, not overexpose, because of the reds, which tend to I'm always scared I'm gonna clip the reds, so I usually just give it a gain digitally. This kind of bothers me, so I'm just gonna remove it like this. Sometimes I'm not satisfied with the white balance I get from the camera. Let's see, yeah, no, not this way, maybe like this. Maybe, yeah, something like this. Some highlights, even though the image it's pretty much in the mid-tones anyways. Add some contrast, maybe remove some vignetting. If I have an LCC, I would select it depending on the aperture I shoot. So this time Leica QR Chrome, and this way I would get some automatic remover of vignetting. And usually, depending on the camera, the red rendition it differs. In case of Leica Q, I like to give them a bit of more kind of reddish shift, like this. Also, the sky, it's kind of too purplish. This way, also, sometimes you get this purplish color, which I don't really like, so I try to remove it as much as possible, like this. Make a layer, span brush, opacity, flow, and this big. Okay, like this, maybe some brightness. Yeah, so vivid. Some saturation, maybe. Yeah, this way. It's still red, but not too much like eye-catching. Before and after. Let's see this picture here. We have a very strong highlights and kind of it's overcast. So for a start here, I would immediately go with Luma Mask. So fill adjustment layer, Luma range, like this, okay, and go. I can recover all of this so quickly, like this. Maybe it's a bit too flat, so I'm just gonna put it like this. Some saturation, but not too much. Again, maybe it doesn't really go well. This kind of bright blues with this. So I'm just gonna lower the saturation. I would recover some shadows, put out some saturation, bring back some contrast. It really gets saturated really fast. So okay, and something like this. Before and after, before and after. I really love the Luma Mask, really helps you get your result pretty quick. Gradient filter, maybe to pop a little bit more the shadows without having to go on to the other one, and that's it. Not really a tutorial, but just a video to show you how I approach infrared development of my pictures using Capture One. If you have any questions or would like to see more specific tutorial about retouching infrared pictures, color, and or black and white, let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.